What's going on, guys? It is 2:31 or now 2:32 a.m. And I told the lounge, I said, "Hey, I'll be back. Wait patiently for my return." Looks like they didn't wait, so I'll see you fuckers in court. Other than that, I was watching Torp's video, right? And see, I was reading the comments, and I seen Bobby in the comments, and he was taking it a little hard. And what it is, I mean, it wasn't like when something's not about you, it's hard to really understand where somebody's coming from, like Torp. See, I mean, the video made about Torp, again, if you just put yourself in Torp's position and wake up and see that shit, right? It would infuriate you. And of course, if you see somebody, being cool with the people that's, best buds with the guy that put that out there, of course you're going to call that shit out, right? But it was just like with me. It's like that time that, Blaze said that shit about me, and the stuff Blaze said about me, it's all just words, right? I mean, but it still pisses you off. But it's all just words. Nothing could really happen. Well, he could try, but it wouldn't end well for him. But with Torp, it's a whole different ball game. What happened to Torp? It's already affected his life once, and the videos could still have real life consequences. So when you see somebody hanging around those people, and like me, like I said, the day that happened, if I would have been my rational mind, I would have probably seen Bobby in the chat. I should have went there and said, "Hey, Bobby, have you seen this?" But I didn't do that. I just figured, oh, he's seen everything and he's just, still in there. So instead of asking him, I just fucking went off on him. Then come to find out, as soon as he finds out, he does the right thing. Now, what Bobby done was he came out and took a stand about that, against that. And I mean, Bobby got a lot of flack for that. And I don't think I've ever even fucking thanked him. I mean, I have thanked him, but I mean, I've never pointed out that Bobby could have just said, "Oh, that was wrong" in a chat or something and went on. But he literally went, texted the guy, then went and did the video calling that bullshit out. And I appreciate that, Bobs. I took a lot of fucking courage because you did. You took a lot of flack for that. But see, with Torp, see, as soon as he, like I said, a lot of people might have seen what he did the other night and think, man, Torp's overreacting, but he wasn't. He just, out of anger, because he sees Bobby over there, right? And in his mind, he kind of thinks that, Bobby's just never said nothing. He's not called it out. Because as soon as Torp found out that Bobby done it, he immediately is like, oh, my bad, And that's the thing. Out of anger, he reacted. But as soon as he found the truth, Torp did the right thing. Because anytime someone does something to you and you see somebody you considered a friend or an acquaintance and you see them over there just acting like everything's cool, you feel like they're backstabbing you. Again, as soon as Torp found out the truth, he was like, my bad, my bad. But again, he's been through this before, Torp has, and he knows what the consequences is. But I don't think this time, this ain't going to help Torp any, but this time there's no way it's going to lead to that route because everybody knows it's bullshit, which I'm sure they did last time. It's just he was in a whole different kind of community, which his community's toxic as fuck too. But I don't think it's as toxic as the other one. There is some people who do some shit. That's like, Reese. I mean, he'll sit there and, don't say shit about him or his family and shit. But then he takes a video of Tammy on the worst day of her life, one of the worst days she's ever had in her life. He shares it. Now, his way out of that was by saying that, oh, I didn't know what the video was. I had no idea. Even though he did mention some things in the video. And they even gave him a pass. He used that for an out and they tried to make amends and he screwed him over a couple days later. But then what's he do? He gets mad. He puts up the same video again. See, the thing about that is, when Tammy sees that, I'm sure she relives that day. No parent should do that. And Reese, hear me out on this. I'm not bringing. There's a video on your channel, and I ain't gonna say the video name or anything. Because if you want to put it out there, it's on your channel. But if you want to put the video out there, you do it. But I'm not gonna say it. It's up to you. There's a video of your son, right? And it's when he was in a hospital, and you know he's in a hospital bed. He's got some toys around him, and he's still smiling and happy. And you could see the love in that kid's eyes. You could tell he knew his parents loved him. And there's another part of that video where like you're sitting there, you're saying, "What's my name?" And he says, "Daddy." The pride in your face, Reese. That shows everything. Your son knew he was loved, and you could tell your son loved you guys. And I've always said, you and your wife, you're great parents. You can tell your family's happy, and I like that. But that's what I'm saying. When people get mad, they do shit to hurt people, and they don't think about how that makes that person feel. Like I said, When Tammy sees that, she relives that fucking day. Nobody deserves that. Nobody. If I mean, even though Reese has done some terrible shit, if I could take that back, what happened to Reese, anything I could do, I would do it. No parent deserves to go through that. And like I said, the only thing, Reese, you could tell your son, he knew he was loved and he had nothing but love in his life. So you're good parents, and I've always said that, and I give you that. Now, when it comes to doing some dirty shit, you do it, but I don't think sometimes you think it through. Because, like I said, imagine that. Imagine somebody putting that out about you. You wouldn't. I mean, nobody would. I mean, there is people that would do it, but none of us would. And if anybody done it, we would immediately call that shit out because nobody deserves that. No parent should ever have to go through that. No matter, it's just wrong. And again, like what happened to Torp, he's already went through shit. Now, of course, what you and Tammy went through, Reese and Tammy, that's even worse than what Torp, this. But what Torp went through is a lot worse than what Blaze said about me. And I remember how, like, when I seen Bobby doing that, I kind of got mad. And I guarantee you, when Torp seen it, like he didn't know Bobby had said anything, I'm sure he felt kind of, because that's the thing, you never notice this. We will go into a chat, we'll see a lot of people there, and there's only certain people we call out. And there's a reason. And I don't know if Bobby's going to watch this or hears this, but anyway, the reason it is because, like, even that day on the Blaze thing when he said about my daughter, I went in that chat. There was what, 5, 6, 7 people there. They're all talking. I didn't give a fuck about any of them. I couldn't believe Bobby was there. I couldn't believe it. And again, instead of just asking Bobby, like, dude, did you know this? I took it for granted and I fucking attacked him. I went at him. And after I told him where he could find it on Flex's page, Bobby stopped typing. Now, I think her name is Candy. I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure her name was Candy. She was like, oh my God, if that happened, she called Blaze out on the spot, but Bobby never said a word. So I'm thinking, like, either he's there and reading it, not answering, or he just left, which he did leave. But the reason he left, he went over there and seen it, and he went and put himself on the line for that. See, when it's come down to shit, Bobby's always kind of, done the right thing. When it goes too far, he does the right thing. Bobby's biggest problem is, in a way, he's like Flex. His best quality is also his worst quality in the way it fucks him over. He tries to remain neutral. He tries to stay neutral. But see, Torp's got a point. See, Roy's going to flip everything. So when he sees you say something like you're still, he's going to point that out. Like, yeah, Bobby was saying this and Bobby was saying that. But again, fuck Roy. Who gives a fuck what Roy thinks? And that's the thing. But see, you got to remember this too. And this even applies to Flex a little bit. Because, like, me and Thunder, it's like as soon as Roy did that, phone call thing, he fucked Thunder over. That very moment, I was done with Roy. I have no history with him. I've only known him, what, a year? And all that time, he's been a dick. So I didn't give a fuck. Thunder, he amazed me because I was ready to say fuck him right then. And Thunder's like, well, no, hang on, hang on. He was mad. Let's see what let's see if he's. And I was like, damn, what the fuck? But hell, it was about Thunder. So I was like, all right, whatever. I mean, I told him I'm still done with the guy, but I'll get along with him. And I've done it several times just to keep the peace, I guess. But he kept fucking us over, and it was easy for me and Thunder to throw him away. Now, when it comes to Flex and Bobby, see, there's a long history there with Roy. They remember the good times. They remember this time and that. Reds had them times with Roy. There was times, but again, there wasn't as many good times as bad with Red, obviously. So it's not as hard for her, but I'm sure she thinks about those times sometimes, and it's harder. But like, imagine Bobby and Flex. So they look back on, because there is times even now Flex will kind of, I mean, Roy will do something fucking terrible. And instead of Flex just fucking hammering his ass, he'll kind of hold back a little bit because he's remembering that good part about Roy. But the problem with that is Roy uses that shit to get back in and fuck you over harder. Roy will always turn to somebody that he thinks is, mad at you, or whatever can hurt you the most. That's what Roy will do. And Reese, you've been doing that lately, and that surprises me about you. I mean, not really, because you've always done shit, but on certain things, like the Tammy situation, dude, that's wrong. The Torp situation, that's wrong. The shit Blaze said, like I said, that's just words. Of course it pissed me off. It fucking pissed me off. But, it's words. But what happened to Torp, that's very malicious. What happened to Tammy, every time she sees that, she's reliving that shit. So in a way, like, what I'm trying to say here is, like people like Bobby, I mean, he tries to remain neutral. And what happens to him, he ends up getting attacked by both sides. See, I seen a comment. I ain't gonna say who said it, but somebody, as soon as Bobby pops in the fucking chat, somebody says something like, "Oh, Bobby's got 3 fence posts up, or how's the 3 fence posts up your ass?" I'm attacking him. So I got to looking, and Bobby just fucking left. But then I got to thinking, like, fuck, I've done Bobby that way several times, and it's hard to, like, it's impossible to try to stay neutral on both sides. Now, again, when it gets bad, Bobby's called it out on both sides, and I guarantee you, if Flex would have struck Roy down, Bobby would have said the same thing. But Roy just doesn't like to hear. Roy's a yes man, but he wants everybody just to bow down, and no one's bowing down to your dumbass. Fuck you, Roy. But you fuck people over. Then when you get called out, and again, when somebody's getting ready to tell you something, this is why nobody will ever click your link except for dumbasses. Because once they start to get a point, like Bobby, he had several and he wasn't even yelling. And again, I can't believe how fucking calm he was through that. That dude should be like a fucking psychiatrist or something. Just remain calm. Even when he got a little bit mad, he brought himself back down. But every time he started to call your ass out, Roy, you would be like, oh, see there, see, you're going to say, of course. And see, Roy knew what he was going to say. He's like, oh, see there. Yeah, see, he was going to call out your bullshit. And you didn't like that. You want to set, they talk about us. We spin the narratives. No, that's what Roy does. That's what you all do. Again, we have asked you all so many times, show us where we're lying. This shit has all went so far that it's terrible that it just can't end. I mean, we can't say, hey, just stop talking about us and we'll stop talking about you. Because again, we did a video about, I'm doing a video right now saying shit about you guys. So of course you got a right to respond, right? But there at least can be things that you do to each other that you don't go low. I would never, never do anything to hurt any of you all in real life. Swear on my dog's life, and I love my dog. You know that. My dog's real. Fuck all y'all don't think so. Serb, Cherry, Roy, all them. Hell, I hope they live a happy, great life. I really do. I don't want nothing to fucking do with them, but I don't want nothing to happen to them. But again, I don't know them as much as like say Bobby and Flex, even Torp. Torp has a longer history with them. And he has tried. See, Torp, you know what I'm saying on this. If Torp sees this, see, when there ain't no drama, Torp will try to, banter on both sides. But he doesn't go low. He doesn't do malicious. He doesn't, even if he talks shit and he makes you mad, if you leave a comment about it, he'll be like, cheers or something. He doesn't take it serious until somebody on either side does something so fucking low that it brings out the old Torp. And he doesn't waver on that. When it's come to standing up for something, Torp has always done it. So I guess when Torp sees people and he doesn't think, like when he seen Bobby in that chat and he wasn't mentioning that, he didn't know. And again, I don't know why my mic was muted, but I tried to tell Torp for 10 minutes. I was like, no, I seen Bobby do it, but I was muted somehow. But I think Thunder and I know Flex had told him and a few people in the chat. But as soon as Torp heard that, he was like, "Oh, okay, cool. Or that's all I wanted to know." Because that's what it is. It's like I know how Torp felt. Same way I felt when I seen Bobby with Blaze in the comments. It's not that it's more you're shocked because you think a person's a certain way. And sometimes it's kind of almost not even fair to Bobby because we're all, trying to put him in the middle. And that's the thing, Bobby. If you're going to go to both sides, I've said this before, if everybody would call out the bullshit on both sides, and I know me saying like, well, there's no bullshit on this side, but there's really not. I mean, again, please, y'all keep saying you got all this shit. Like I said, Reese had 36 hours, and all he came up with was proving that we were right. Appreciate that, Reese. I really do. But again, if you're going to go to both sides, it's going to be very hard because if one side does something very low to the other one, and it doesn't matter even if you're in that chat. And even I heard Bobby say this before. Bobby's literally said, I can see, he reflected and he said, I can see if I'm in a chat and somebody says something, I don't say something, it's there. And even though Roy says, oh no, I'm tired of that guilt by association, that's bullshit. If somebody says something, that's on them. That's not me. I can only speak for Roy. But if Bobby's somewhere, even in the chat, not even on the panel, it doesn't matter where he's at. If somebody says something about Roy, you're supposed to fucking throw yourself on the sword or something, I guess. I don't know. But that's what you call hypocrisy, Roy. See, when I say you're a hypocrite, I just pointed out and said how you was, and they can hear it themselves. So, I'm supposed to be like a meth head. Uh, what else was it? My dog's fake. Uh, I got a 2-foot dick. No, I made up that one. That was me. I'm sorry. Anyway, a lot of other shit. But the point of it is, it's all just words. But sometimes shit goes beyond words. Flex lost his channel. Tammy lost a child. Reese lost a child. Again, the Torp thing, that was bad. The thing that happened to me again was just words. But Torp, huge thing happened in his life over that shit. Now, no matter which side you're on, no matter what, you should not go malicious. And Roy, nobody has ever told anybody to mass flag your channel. Ever. Wouldn't do it. Saying it now, clip it. The only thing I've ever said, like when it first happened, I literally said, because you kept saying, oh, he didn't follow TOS. Oh, you got to follow the rules. So I said, hey, if we don't follow the rules, whatever happens, happens. Nobody told him to flag you. And if you go back and look, literally, we've told people that's even said, like, oh, no, no, don't do that. That makes us just like them. So what I'm trying to say is you don't stoop to someone else's level. Just because they do it to you, if you do it to them, it don't make it okay to do it to them. Like I said, nobody ever should have a child they lost through interface. Ever. Ever. And it's like, Reese has told people not to talk about it. Reese, nobody who ever would. We wouldn't do that. Everybody, I guarantee you, they feel for that. They would never. Nobody wanted to see that happen to you. And if people that seen that video knows, like I said, you can tell you and your wife and there was nothing but love there. Your child knew that. That's the one, there's nothing like it make it feel bad. But what I'm saying is your boy knew he was loved. You could see it in his eyes. You could see the proudness in your eyes. So, and I've always said you guys are good parents. I've always said that. It's just, and I guess that changes people. I mean, look, I wish nobody had to know, go through that. But again, nobody should ever do shit to people that, brings up the worst times of their lives, or shit that's altered their lives or can change their lives or can really hurt them in real life. Again, I've said this many times. If Cherry was trying to sell the house across the street from me and I knew I could just say something, I wouldn't do it. Now, when the people were buying it, when they turned their backs, I'd flip Cherry off to him to go fuck himself, but I'd kind of mouth it so they didn't hear me. But if the people asked me, like, oh, yeah, this is a good guy, I probably wouldn't say that. I'd be like, oh, I don't know him. Yeah, I ain't gonna say you're a good guy. At one time, I used to think he was a decent guy. But that's the thing. Sometimes they'll do shit, and I don't even know. I mean, that's the thing. Again, like Flex, Torp in a way, Bobby, they all remember Roy a different way. So they keep seeing that Roy, especially Bobby. He keeps seeing that Roy because Roy hasn't done nothing to Bobby that bad until the other night. But now, I mean, I have no idea, but I'm sure Bobby feels a certain way about that now because he sees how the one thing in his life he says, please do not put on YouTube. Please don't do that. Roy went right for that. And that kind of shows you where people will go. But I'm just saying, we can't expect everybody to fight our battles for us. And if it's just, banner back and forth and people's not like kind of going in it. But still yet, if someone's saying bad shit on panels or they're saying shit and people's in the chat and they're supporting it, that's kind of, I did a video earlier. I mentioned Terry, right? After I done it and put the video, I was like, man, I shouldn't have done that. But again, I was so shocked to see Terry doing that because Terry was always really cool. She would like comment on my stuff. I'd comment on hers. I'd go to her lives. And just because a few people, turned against me, now all of a sudden, at first she didn't say nothing, but now all of a sudden she did. And I should have just kept it out of it. But like I said, I had just seen it. I was like, God damn, I couldn't believe it. So, I mean, I don't know. It's just this shit has went on so long. And it's ridiculous. We're supposed to be adults. And most of us, we try to act like adults, but there's a few of us on that side. And I know you're going, oh, yeah, whatever. But we have never done nothing ever to hurt anybody in real life or even opposite. If people's even offered, asked anything, it's always been like, no, 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 don't do that, don't do that. The other side wouldn't do that. We know that they literally talk on the phone about ways to fuck us over. You can look by going to just go to Mr. underscore Flex and look at that channel. Yeah, you can't do it because they conspired to take it down. Then they told us and bragged about it. So again, here's what you should do. If you don't want it done to you, you shouldn't do it to other people. And out of anger, before you do something out of anger, maybe sit back and think about it for a while. And another thing, if you see somebody in the chat that you consider a friend, and you just like say Bobby, and you just take for granted, like, oh, this motherfucker knows. I know he's seen it. Maybe just ask him, like, hey, did you see this? Because if I would went in there that day when Bobby, if I would have said that, like, hey, Bobby, did you happen to see what he done? If Bobby would have said no, I could have said, hey, go here and look at it. But instead, I came in there hot as a motherfucker. And I get it. And like I said, that was just words about me. But what happened to Torp was even worse. That's why Torp even came in hotter because he had been hurt by that shit before. His whole life had been altered. And he probably seen that happening again. And of course he was pissed. But as soon as he found out Bobby done it, he was all, he was like, oh, okay, my bad. That's all I wanted to know. But again, think about that shit. People on both sides, think about it. If you see somebody doing something to somebody that you know is going to affect a real life situation, maybe you should call that shit out. And again, I'm saying if I say something about somebody, Flex, Thunder, Torp, anybody says something about somebody, ask them, say, what do you mean? And don't let them say, oh, well, they lie or they spin truths or they do this or they do that. make them give you, tell you, show you, tell me, or that, or they're full of shit. Because again, all you gotta do is ask. We'll show. They say shit. We've been begging, show us. All we get's a video showing that we don't do it. But anyway, guys, this shit, you gotta admit, this shit's getting tiresome. It really is. And people's lost channels, friendships has been torn apart long. But sometimes you find a true person, you find how they are. And again, I guess I just happened to come in and, get lucky and see how Roy was. I found it. Roy's a terrible person. He only cares about himself. He's a dick. And again, ask me how, and I can tell you. I actually just fucking go back. Everything I've said, I've proved. But again, when they say shit like over there saying like that's like Tracy, literally she knows better than that. She knows, but she'll let people come to her panel. Now, it wouldn't sit on her panel, but that guy's always over there because there's only a couple of people that come around because he's a fucking pathological liar. See, I just called Serb a pathological liar. Somebody might say, well, why do you say that? Well, he lied about his whole fucking existence. You can, I mean, again, it's all there. That's how you do it. Ask me and I'll tell you. But Tracy knew better. But she says, he calls me a meth head. He says, I mean, all kinds of stupid shit. Nobody puts him in check. Again, I guarantee you, if I pop up on the lounge tonight and I say some fucking stupid shit about anybody from that side, I would get called out like, well, no, 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 no. Because if once you get caught lying, it's over. One lie, you could tell 100 truths. The one lie, it just negates all the truth because everybody's going to keep pointing to that lie. You guys have a good one. Instead of go fucking yourselves tonight, do a little reflecting. Then go fuck yourselves. Later.